invite Mr. Debi Prasad from Chief General Manager. He's a Chief General Manager from um, BEML.
Good
Mr.
evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
PV Sunil Kumar, ADGP Crime Investigation Department, Andhra Pradesh.
Good evening, sir.
Indranath Babu, good evening to you, sir. Superintendent of Police, Krishna District Police. Mr. Sanjeev Ranjan, CEO, Gorakhpur Industrial Development Authority. Ms. Tripti Bhatt, Commandant SDRF, Uttarakhand Police. And Mr. TMO, Senior Superintendent of Police, Itanagar District Police. So I believe all these panelists are with us. And Deepak, can we go ahead with the panel discussion if everybody is present? Great. So just to give you a brief backdrop to it, we have heard the various police administrations, various chiefs in their respective departments speak about their different kind of interventions vis-a-vis COVID, and alternatively with a few innovations as well. Responding to a national and a problem, a pandemic, which has been languishing for a little longer than expected. But yes, this has posed a whole lot of challenge. This panel particularly is a unique combination. We have a PSU, we have police, we got disaster response, and we got the state government. And jury observations are going to be given by Mr. Madan Mohan, who is a former CGM from NABARD, and Mr. GB Panda, who is former senior advisor from Planning Commission. Interestingly, when we talk about COVID times, what has it changed for us apart from many other things, which is what it has taught? Amongst most important, it has taught us social distancing. If we take the social out and only say distancing, that means to say that we will not be able to deal with each other. But as a human race, we are social animals. How do we talk to each other? How do we interact with each other? How do we interact with each other? How do we transact with each other? The world has now started moving. What has happened is that this is in last 6 months, we have seen the highest amount of digital transformation, which has become a key component of post-pandemic change. Words like drones, location mapping, geotagging, contact tracing, lat long, altitude, monitoring, surveillance, these are very niche words and were known very limited way to the circles alone. These have become common parlance. Digital adoption has been the fastest across the government as well as citizens. Witnessed in transactions, as I said in the beginning, in communication, and bringing people close digitally, even though maintaining social distance. So average Indian today has become technology savvy. There is no resistance to digital now at any level. It is again been imposed on us like exactly the way when CVC issued a diktat decades ago for the banks to go computerized, and a deadline was given. It was languishing for long, but since we had a deadline, 2 months, banks computerized themselves. Digital India, which was started in 14-15, has been slow as far as the citizen adoption was concerned and the delivery of services. It has made this happen. But yes, in between, if you say digital transactions, the UPI, everything has become fastest adoption due to this social distancing, but we got to survive. Therefore, the question in front of us that arises today is that the governance adapting to the use of digital technologies in the current phase of pandemic. Next question we would like to ask you is the interaction of government changed during the pandemic? Yes or no? And if yes, how? And how have governance institutions evolved in India to deliver an effective last mile response to this global challenge? While we know the good work that you have done in your domain, in order to discuss the governance response to COVID rather than your individual or individual organization's response to COVID, let's look at these three questions one by one. Let me have the pleasure of inviting our PSU participant, Mr. Devi Prasad Satpathy, Chief General Manager from BEML, to delve on these issues. Mr. Satpathy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Very good evening to all of you. So as a question, as you said, sir, we are a PSU. We are operating a highly competitive environment. We have three business sectors. One is rail and metro, other is the defense, and then mining and construction. All are service oriented. Customer centricity is the main focus. In this pandemic, this has changed the way we are working earlier. The production, the productivity, that's the focus for us. Without productivity, without profitability, sustenance is difficult. So though the lockdown, that is starting from 24th March 2020 to 3rd May 2020, that was the second phase of lockdown. We had a big challenge that our profitability, productivity both came down. We had to literally struggle for getting the orders, executing the orders, supplying to the customers, the materials. But anyway, with the help of or with the cooperation of our unions, the associations, all the employees, we had built them a confidence and took them into confidence. There was a regular interaction with them. On 4th May onwards, we started our operations on a regular basis. Now we are continuing our production with a full-fledged, and we are hopeful that we will ramp up our production. We'll catch up with the original plan of our production by the end of this year. So as you said, the first question, how it has changed, the digital technology changed the way we are working earlier. So I will vouch for it that it has changed our complete way of working. The system of movement of files, as you know, sir, in government sector, in PSU, city high, we literally used to have file systems moving upward and down. We have migrated to the life cycle management, where now 98% of our files are through with digital system. Correspondence, no correspondence is made with the physical files. We have moved to that. Similarly, sir, all training is our focused area. During this pandemic time, we have also focused more towards the skill development activities of the employees as well as for the executives. That we have moved out to the webinars. All the training programs we are conducting through webinars. We have moved out to the virtual mode of meetings, no travels. Even including the government also, we are having discussions through VCs. We have become, as you said, or opening remarks, we have become more computer savvy, more digital savvy. Including the departmental proceedings, as you know, we have the system of departmental, that also we are going through, conducting through VCs, which has been accepted in the principle, and that is in the part of our conduct discipline and appeal rules. All communication is digitalized through the email modes only. And as you said, sir, social distancing, that is a major factor. Actually, with that only you could achieve. The number of cases has been reduced. The use of masks, maintaining social distance during the working hours, and as well as the canteen services, which is a mandatory part as per our factories regulation, we have to provide. That also we have made in such a way the people are now maintaining social distancing there. They use masks while entering the canteen, but while taking food, they maintain the 6 feet distancing. And they use their own glasses, they take it and drop it. So the people become more disciplined, and rather, I will say, they are more, they adapted the change in the lifestyle. So that has helped us in controlling, or rather combating, the COVID-19 situation. And government SOPs, what was issued pertaining to the different aspects of social distancing, masking, then as well as your sanitization, walk-through sanitizers you have installed. These are some of the activities which is beyond the SOPs what has been formulated by the government. So that has helped us in reducing the number of cases. We have around 12,000 plus employees, including the contract workers. But the number of cases what we have registered till date is around 513. And out of that, 450 people have been recovered and they're back to work. So remaining people are under either home isolation or in hospitals. And we're expecting the other people will be also back to work maybe within the next 14 to 20 days. But now we are not having much cases. One or two cases are coming up in between because of the temperature again. Because Bangalore, as you know, sir, the temperature is a little less. Now this winter season has started. Because of that, we are thinking that maybe because of the research what is coming out, that is one part that it says during winter it may go up. So this is what, sir, we have experienced during this first phase of lockdown and after opening of the factory till date. And sir, I must appreciate the cooperation extended by all the unions and association for carrying out our jobs. And so the CSR activities, we have contributed to the PM's relief, PM's Care Fund. So our directors and the chairman has contributed their 21 days salary to the PM's Care Fund. And all the employees, they contribute for 1 day salary for the PM Care Fund for the COVID purpose. And we have opened up a COVID care center in our two places, 20-bedded hospital in our KGF center and 10-bedded in our Bangalore complex. These are the two of the rare of the initiatives which you will find in most of the PSUs. So we have taken that initiative, and our cases, the employee cases, we treat them there in our hospital. And we have also established a testing center in our KGF medical center where people can walk in and get their COVID test in the center. And our ladies clubs, they have taken initiative to produce and stitch masks and supply to the contract workers. So almost 18,000 masks we stitched and contributed to our, and we distributed to the contract laborers. During this pandemic, the migrated workers, those who are the construction workers, in some of the places where our factories are there, which the residents just adjacent to the factories, there are around 500 people. For them, we have provided food for a period of almost 60 days. So now, since there is no requirement, we discontinued that. But that was one of the CSR activities we conducted. And we are continuing still with the drinking water facilities. Some of the people, those who are not getting proper drinking water. And sanitization is the primary thing. In before entering and while going out, all that we do. And the thermal scanning of people while entering the factory premises as well as to the office premises, and oximeters checking of the oxygen level. And besides that, we have our doctors who are the nodal officers. Anybody can contact them and get themselves treated for if they are infected with COVID. So these are some of the activities, and this is my experience what we have done here in the BEML. I shared with you, sir. Now over to you, sir.
I mean, it's wonderful contribution that you have made. But if I may ask you, what did you do differently, which others did not do?
So this COVID care center, that is one of the things that we did. Because that is
amongst the other PSU,
something which is not done in a PSU. Sorry, sir, I can't hear you, sir.
In order to set an example, you got to do things which others can emulate. The rest of the things are by protocol. But my question was that what is it that you did differently for others to take note of?
So we started our production. The production is now picked up, which you are something different, which is not there in most of the cases. Even there was a lockdown after the second phase also, we continued to take together our people and build them the confidence of that your health and safety is taken care. So we could see, we are in the public market, sir. We are in the competitive market. Without profitability, we can't survive.
So in
took them into confidence and went ahead with that.
In a crisis situation, generally,
Yes.
there are two problems that happen that one has to deal with. One is keeping the employee morale up, and second, to maintain business continuity.
Yes.
What did BML do?
Sir, employee morale, sir, you have not even touched their salary and wages. That is one of the things, sir. Even with the 60 days production loss, we kept their wages and salary, we maintained the contract labor strength, we paid them the salary. So that is the biggest confidence we built in them. So that is what the dedication they have now putting their effort to continue with the production. So we could achieve our ramping up of production or scaling up our production because of that motivation.
Mhm.
That is the biggest strength we had given. Even during the crisis, when most of the industry are not paying salary, we continued to pay them the salary.
And you
As
protected
a socially responsible organization, we did that.
all the jobs were protected, or there was a layoff that happened, either the regular employees or the contract workers?
No layoffs, sir. No, there was not a single layoff during this period. That are the biggest achievements or strength we had given to them.
Wonderful. So let me come back to you. I mean, these are really a few heartening things to know, the way
Yes.
you maintained your supply chains and the business continuity. Let me move over to Mr. PV Sunil Kumar,
Thank you, sir.
the Crime Investigation Department, to learn from your experience, and also at the same time, how is it that you, took two technologies and leveraged them and made it part of the system, maybe more. Mr. Sunil Kumar. Are you with us?
This service sector should have been. I said in the beginning, customer center should have
Mr. Sunil
been
Kumar?
specific.
Also, people morale is very high, and they continue to serve all over. There is not even a single complaint with the customer regarding our service.
Let me move over to Mr. Ravindranath Babu M, Superintendent Police, Krishna District Police.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Sir, with regard to this COVID-19, sir, our experience with this one, it's an unique situation. Earlier, we never felt like this. Why? Because there is no proper medical protocol already available. Proper medicines are also not there. Vaccine also not there. In addition to that, we have to act as frontline workers along with the 4 or 5 important departments to contain the disease as well as to control this one. So we stood first in with regard to this one identification of this one containment zones. Nobody knows about this one, how to contain this disease. At the same time, we have to keep our men at risk of affecting this one COVID positive thing. In spite of all these things, our force, we could able to motivate our force from time to time. Initially, at the initial stage, nobody, including the doctors also, don't know about the medical protocol thing. At that time, we along with the other department like revenue, medical and health department, sanitation workers, we stood as a frontline workers and we faced this one. During this stage, we also faced this one social stigma factor also. During the initial stage of the COVID-19, the near and dears, that close relatives also afraid to go near to the positively affected person. During that time, the frontline workers like police department, they stood there and along with the positive affected persons, we did this job. During this time, to maintain this one physical distance, as well as to maintain this one to contain further spread, we advocated the utilization of mask as well as this one maintenance of physical distance by strict enforcement during the field. At the same time, we have given top priority for the welfare of our men. Why? Because we are on the front line, right? We should not affect. When our staff get affected, the morale of the staff will get down. Likewise, use the technology like every day for the everyday interaction with our men. We use the technology like we used to conduct webinars. We used to communicate through WhatsApp. We used to communicate these teleconferences and spread the day-to-day instructions from the government to our men. That's why we were able to successfully they enforce this one containment zone in the initial stages. At the same time, identification of primary and secondary contacts at the initial stage, it's our top priority. We could able to successfully identify and segregate this one primary and secondary contacts, and we made them to keep themselves in the home isolation as well as COVID centers isolation. That also we could able to do successfully. Over a period of time, to regulate this movement of the positively affected persons, we developed on COVID app also, so that we made to download this all these positive persons. We made them to download this COVID app. Whenever they move out of this home isolation, also we could able to know their movement, and at the same time we could pick them up and we could be able to restrict them to the home isolation. By doing all these things in the initial days, we could able to restrict the positive cases in our Krishna district. When compared to the urban areas in our Krishna rural district, we could able to limit the cases into just hundreds only. In the during lockdown period, we could able to totally control the disease. At the same time, we protected our people also from this COVID positive thing. But in the second phase, during the unlock period starts, the public movement started. During that time also, by the time the COVID protocol, medical protocol also started, that time we could able to maintain effectively this physical distance as well as the wearing of the mask among the public. And moreover, especially with regard to our men welfare, we have taken different steps. So those people who are having 50 plus age group, we made them to go on medical leave and take their health and their family members' welfare. Only we utilize the services of young people for this activity as well as the containment zone bandobast thing. By this time, we to less than 5% in our units. This is my experience, but during this entire COVID period, the utilization of technology for the communication with our men as well as with the general public through social media platform also, we would be able to do so. Thank you.
If I may ask you one question, this was something that happened new to us. We did not know how to respond. Your response initially and your response now, how it has been strengthened over a period of time based on your experience of dealing with it.
Sir, initial part of I could not get, sir. I could not get your question.
I said that this was something new for us. We have never dealt with a situation like this. So you're dealing with this problem initially, how it has changed over a period of time with experience.
Initially, as the general public, there is a lot of social stigma. No, why? Because initially the close relatives also afraid to go near to the public, near to their affected persons. Likewise, also our men also, they are very afraid of tackling this situation. But over a period of time, we could able to sensitize our people that it's not such dangerous. By following many precautions like wearing of mask, wearing of gloves, and but by maintaining the physical distance, it's not a dangerous one. Like that, we propagated and we motivated our people. Over a period of time, even we could able to motivate our force as well as the public also. We could able to sensitize them that it's not by maintaining this physical distance as well as this COVID precautions, there will not be any danger. The stigma factor also we could able to sensitize the public that there is nothing wrong. If any of your close relatives or close ones get affected, there is nothing to worry. By following all these precautions, by following this medical protocol, there is nothing wrong like that. We are able to protect. That fear of initial days of fear, we could able to get away from them over a period of time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Babu.
Thank you.
Let me now invite Mr. PV Sunil Kumar.
Tell me, sir, please.
So about the discussion that we are having, you are part of this governance response to COVID. So what has been your response to COVID? We have heard, you speak regarding your 3 projects. about how you have been able to control crime, the cyber crime. How is it that you managed that e-Nirdeshna, the 3 projects that you did? So do you think that you adapted to the use of technologies during COVID pandemic rather easily, or this was a challenge for you? And how did it happen?
So it was not a challenge, if you ask me, because AP Police has the legacy of using technology in its day-to-day business. We are a pioneering police unit, leadership of our DGP Shri Gautam Sawang. He is very tech-savvy person. And legacy-wise also, AP Police is far ahead in using the available technologies in the United States. Even after the division of the state also, AP Police continues to, even if you take the example of conducting Pushkarams, my DG was Commissioner of Police Vijayawada at that time, Mr. Gautam Sawang sir. So that time, for the first time in India, we have used about 30 drones for monitoring, crowd monitoring, traffic movement monitoring, crowd density estimation, mobilizing the force, etc. So using technology is nothing new to us. In the COVID situation, so the moving to the adapting ourselves to the new technology was rather a forced thing. Initial hiccups are there, but rather we switched over to it very fast, because now these Zoom conferences or WebEx conferences became order of the day. Now we stopped the physical meetings. We avoided physical meetings as far as possible, and we switched over to the digital meetings. So it took little bit of effort, fine tuning. The bandwidth wise, there were some challenges. Earlier, this kind of bandwidth we never used. And yeah, hardware wise, some tuning up was necessary, which was taken care. So effortlessly we switched over to this, and rather we are forced to use this. So as far as your unique initiatives wise concerned, so what AP Police has done, as my colleague Ravindra Babu said, we have developed one application which will monitor the movement of a COVID affected person, in which physical boundaries he was moving and all. Apart from that, we have supplied, my DG has supplied PPT kits to all the policemen working on the roads. He was continuously supplying gloves, monetizers.
We have understood the digital transformation, which is what has come by way of Andhra Police already being conversant, and technology adoption happened much earlier in life, so it was kind of easy for you. So we'll come and discuss your project. Give me a little while. In the meanwhile, I move over to invite Tripti Bhatt. She's Commandant SDRF from Uttarakhand Police. So that's the disaster response to COVID. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I will briefly focus on the 2 points that you have raised with respect to technology. I would first of all highlight the biggest flagship, the state-of-art COVID care center that was developed by SDRF Uttarakhand, and it was then handed over to the health department for operational purposes. So it was a 2,000-bed COVID care center that we established, and it was inaugurated by Honorable CM, sir, and it had facilities like telemedicine, so that without a physical contact, they can get a good medical advice from doctors, even at Delhi and other centers of excellence like AIIMS. Secondly, it was a switch over to facial recognition system for attendance instead of a biometric attendance, to avoid infections, and need of sanitization of surfaces was done away to some extent due to facial recognition instead of a biometric machine. Then we switched over to UV sanitization rooms, because large scale sanitization of your clothes and daily accessories and mobile phones and all those surfaces that require regular sanitization, we developed an in-house UV sanitization room also. We also made small boxes of UV sanitization for use in our remote posts, and every small unit had those boxes for, you know, decontamination of their clothes and things like that. Another important aspect was artificial intelligence based mask alert systems. For example, if you're walking around without wearing a mask, it was an AI based system to alert that, you know, you are not wearing a mask, and some beep and error, and so that the minimum number of staff was required to operationalize and functionally, you know, successfully manage the COVID care center with minimum contact. So that was a very well appreciated COVID care center, and 2000 bed capacity we developed with the latest technologies and handed over to the health department for operational functioning. Another, for example, the daily life, the webinars, the Zoom meetings, I think that has been a switch over for most of us, because initially we used to have offline meetings and offline conferences. That has by and large been substituted by online platforms. I think that would be the case with most of the organizations. The third aspect of technology, I would say, in training, for uniformity, for focus on stakeholders, and for a, you know, basically an outlined and professional approach to training about COVID, we developed in-house application called Corona Warrior. So it was a training application, and the trainers, they could choose, for example, if they are training Anganwadi workers, so they had 3 layers of questioning quiz. It was a gaming application basically. So just like any other game, like say any other quiz or a video game, it has a very interactive you know, interface, and all the stakeholders can be chosen. Like policeman will be asked, how will you arrest a person? Anganwadi worker will be asked, how will you feed children midday meal? Or for that matter, truck drivers will be asked, which surfaces do you need to sanitize the most? So that way it was like yellow belt, red belt, green belt, and black belt warrior, very interactive game. So all the trainers had those games installed, and they used to go to people and make them play those games for training and awareness purpose. That was another interesting use of technology, which was very well appreciated in national media and national newspapers also. Another aspect of technology that we introduced was in terms of our call center. Call centers traditionally are expensive, they are traditionally professional, and they take charges depending on minutes of engagement. So that was coming out to be very expensive for us, and we needed a 24-hour approach for a long engagement time because of distress calls and managing migration. SDRF, in fact, successfully helped in, you know, as a nodal for migration, we successfully could facilitate 6 lakh, you know, people moving interstate during lockdown period. That was another successful achievement with help of bulk SMS, with help of online registrations, and a lot of intervention of technology in inward migration of our citizen of Uttarakhand also. Another aspect of technology that we extensively used was again in call center. We developed an in-house call center. So as of now, we have addressed to 6 lakh distress calls, more than 8 lakh calls for contact tracing, more than almost 65,000 phone calls for home isolation training. And similarly, it is still operational even after 7, 8 months of you know, going through this pandemic. This in-house call center, which has policemen with you know, training from experts, now they are completely adapted to this part of their work through phone calls to remotest areas. And last of all, not the least of all, I would also like to focus on the fact that we extensively used the technological aspect of medical intervention. And we also have developed in-house testing facilities. SDRF now has trained our own men for COVID testing. So I think we are one of the first police organization in India to be testing for corona. So our paramedics are fully trained. We have doctors, and that team is regularly conducting antigen tests. That is also one beautiful example how we can adapt to changing circumstances. But I would like to add to it that technology at some point in time cannot substitute a physical presence of policemen. For example, we are doing isolation ward duties of COVID positive patients ever since the first case. So that physical presence in terms of security and well-being and isolation ward duty, that cannot be replaced by technology, despite the best of CCTV cameras, the best of geofencing techniques. Ultimately, we do rely on a physical presence. That is a part I would like to highlight. Apart from the facet of feeding the poor and needy, also distribution of masks, and again, the training to poor and needy and remotely positioned people in geographical terrains which are difficult. So we have to physically go and train them, because network connectivity is poor, internet connectivity is poor. So technology, in fact, we have adapted a lot to the technology, but technology again has its own limitations. And for some aspect, we do have to rely on the good old school methods of delivering the results. On second part of delivery as a governance part of your second question, I would like to focus on the power of teamwork, the power of capacity building, and the power of faith. We are a small unit. We only have 600 people, including all the auxiliary and contractual staff. And we had to cater to the needs of entire state. And the diversity of challenges was immense. As I told you, testing for COVID, developing COVID care centers, inward migration was a huge task. Then we are operating call centers. We are into contact tracing. We are into home isolation training. We already have trained more than 75,000 people through 2 to 3 hour training classes. So the diversity of challenges has been immense. But the documentation, the use of, again, technology through bookkeeping, like every day Excel sheets have been made, and data sorting, automation of many of processes, like which data sheet goes to whom, creating teams, sub teams, dividing the task. A lot of meticulous work has gone into delivering this result, and it has been widely appreciated by media, by government, and by people at large. And the biggest satisfaction that we derive is ultimately a thank you phone call, or a thank you message, or a smile that we can bring to the face of the needy. As far as our own force is concerned, we went for an approach of 100% compulsory testing, whether or not they have symptoms. So this compulsory testing led to, spotting of people who could have been super spreaders, and people who suspected themselves the least, they got COVID positive, and they were immediately, given the medical care and isolation as required. So this
In
approach
fact,
has, borne fruits for
there
us.
looks like
And
there
today I
is
can
quite a
proudly
learning
say
for your
that
force. Uh, adapting to this new environment has led to a new capacity which has been built within. And perhaps
yes,
it could be a discovery because you never looked at this side of the force. Now, by way of,
definitely.
you have set up a call center, you are collecting data, you are looking into the behavior, looking into the movement. So you have a whole lot of data which is now collected with you. So are you doing any kind of analytics on it, so that, moving forward, you can devise some strategy as to how to be done, how is that to be done, this is to be avoided, so on and so forth?
The data, I'm very proud of the fact that the data collected by SDRF is widely used by health department to cross-check their feedback mechanism. For example, there was distribution of health kits. So we took feedback, and that data, if it was not matching with the health department data, for example, there were some discrepancies in distribution of kits. For example, they dropped it at the tehsil, and they in their data said that we have distributed, but we made individual phone calls, and that data did not match. So we actually contacted individual departments for this discrepancy in data, and that has led to an immense increase in satisfaction of general level of public feedback that we receive. So that is one example. Another example of use of data is usage through different agencies. The same data is used for contact tracing. The same data is used for home isolation caregiver training. The same data is also used for verification, whether or not a person has filled up the right credentials. People at times fake their travel destinations and origins to avoid a COVID test. So that data is, sorted and filtered and divided, and a lot of fruits are generated from that data. And even the Anganwadi workers, we share the data with them so that they can locally verify in their village. If a person is entering on that portal that I am going into so and so village, so that village team, surveillance team, and Anganwadi and Asha workers get that only that part of their data. Okay, today 15 people should reach my village. Have they reached or not? So a lot of stakeholders are benefiting from our data, and we are very proud of the fact that it is also used for cross-checking, because many agencies maintain their own data. So if at all they have any confusion, or their senior officers are in any doubt, or whether or not the work is being done in the field, they immediately call us up, and we offer them our own data, as well as we offer them phone calls for verification if
One
required.
more question for you. Now, it's a newfound role for everyone, particularly the police organizations and you being the disaster relief force. How, I mean, in the past, generally the police has been serving the citizens, but it's a distance relationship. How is it that your interaction and your relationship as a government changed during the pandemic?
I think this pandemic has given a wonderful opportunity for upliftment of image of the police force across India. And it is not just limited to Uttarakhand, but I must compliment entire state machinery across India, in every state, be it Kerala where the first case occurred, be it Andhra Pradesh where they've been so tech savvy, be it Maharashtra, be it Delhi, be it Haryana, be it any state, even UP. We have been so many learning points have been emulated across the states, because there will be always a thing or two to learn from every police organization. And this has been a tremendous opportunity for upliftment of village. We have read so many inspirational stories of sensitivity, of door to door delivery of medicines, delivery of food, delivery of masks. Our own team has been doing a lot of humanitarian help work with help of CSR and NGOs. So
Absolutely.
that's a tremendous goodwill that has been generated. And this pandemic has, in fact, instead of a challenge, I would say it was an opportunity for the police to come as a frontline warrior and, get a lot of goodwill. And they have, made the most of this
Really,
opportunity. And hence, I
an
compliment
excellent
each
work.
and every one of us here today, and those who are not among us. It's a great honor to, be thankful for all the contribution made by all these state forces across the
Thank you so
nation.
much. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. And it's absolutely amazing to know that how is it that the police organizations have transformed so fast and came so close to the citizens that instead of maintaining a distance relationship, it's a relationship which is now become complementary. Thank you. From Uttarakhand, let me now move to Itanagar. Senior Superintendent of Police, Mr. T. Amo.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
T. Amo here. Though our state is very small, having population of around 15 lakhs, and state capital Itanagar is also having around 30% of the state population, say around 4 or 5 lakhs. And we have very meager strength of police, around 500 only. So it was a very tough job. And our state being a destination state, not like a state like Bihar, UP, Tro, who is a moment of people were allowed. But here, during the first lockdowns, we faced a lot of problem. We had to seal our borders because this was not a thoroughfare state. It is being border state. We had to seal our border, and we use drone. Earlier, we were never using drone. So drone was very helpful in catching those trying to sneak into the state. And drone was also helpful in ensuring that people maintain social distancing. We could spot those people who were crowding in certain place, and we used to send police personnel to disperse them and educate them also to maintain social distancing. And another use of drone was that we could also monitor the performance of our police personnel, police officers, whether they are really working or whether they are really on the job, because it was very tough for officers to go to every place and check our jawans and officers whether they are on duty or not. And during initial period, we had to guard around 30 hotels where those returnees from mainland India were kept for quarantine and for testing also. We had faced very tough job, and in addition to that, uh, we had to uh, ensure that many workers stranded in our state, they are also safely escorted back to their uh, home state. So in the process, during the lockdown also, when interstate movement was not allowed, but there were people who were almost dying. So we escorted around 250 back to our state from the border, and we handed our people, I mean these migrant workers, either to the shelter homes or to their local guardians. And after the lockdown, or during the third or fourth lockdown, when migrants workers were allowed to go home, we helped around 21,000 migrant workers back home, even up to Jammu and Kashmir, with proper liaising. And another important thing that we did during this pandemic was to ensure that our jawans and officers also get sufficient rations. For that, we also constituted one officer, a team of police to look after ration items. So we designated it as Capital Police Ration Unit to ensure that they collect ration. They will ask the demands from the officers and jawans. After that, uh, after collecting their demands and requirements, will collect from certain wholesale dealers, which we have already earmarked and we have already spoken to. After that, we'll supply our rations to our jawans, to their house, to their police station, to their barracks. This was one thing that we did well. And another thing was that we should not, we thought we should not forget humanitarian services also. We must be very human while enforcing lockdown, because people were not getting sufficient ration items, because trucks and all these movements were more or less stranded. Though government of India had directed that movement of essential commodities shall be unhindered, but to state like Arunachal Pradesh, it was very difficult to reach from UP, Bihar, or Punjab, Haryana. So we had faced a lot of shortages of food items also. That also we ensured that people who are old, who are sick, and who has nobody to take care, who are pregnant, they are taken care of. So we with the help of social media like Facebook and WhatsApp, we started helpline numbers at our control room, so that anybody can call us, and then we'll verify on the spot, and then we used to supply assistance in terms of food items, LPG also, and we also even picked up and dropped some pregnant ladies, because there were nobody to take care of them. We also dropped a very seriously sick person to the hospital. And in one case, we even picked up one person uh, who was walking on foot from one district around 200 kilometers to reach a hospital in the capital. So we tried our best, and people also helped us. Many rich people, well-to-do people donated us in cash around 37 lakhs, and also in kinds. And while enforcing a lockdown and while enforcing social distancing and also enforcing wearing of mask, we ensure that while we impose fines, they are also provided masks. So many people had donated us their homemade mask, and even our DGP
Looks like Mr. Amo is having a connectivity problem. So let me, in the meanwhile, invite Gorakhpur Industrial Development Authority, while Mr. Ranjan, Chief Executive Officer, is not here, is represented by Mr. Vivek. So is he there? Do we have Mr. Vivek with us? Do we have Mr. Vivek? I don't see him. Yeah. So,
are you getting?
yeah, Mr. Vivek,
you-
while you have already, आपने पहले ही अपने प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में बताया, मैं आपसे दो
Yes,
चीज
sir.
कि आपने जो ये लाइवलीहुड प्रमोशन शुरू किया, तो उसको आप सस्टेनेबल कैसे बनाएंगे? क्योंकि एक दिन जाकर के करीब 2 महीने, 4 महीने, 1 साल में जब ये कोविड का प्रॉब्लम खत्म होगा, तो आपने इतने लोगों को अपने साथ जोड़ा है, तो उनको आप किस तरीके से उनका लाइवलीहुड में कंटिन्यू करने का आपका प्लान है?
Sir, अभी after the lockdown.
Mr. Amo, we'll
Hello,
come
sir.
back to you. I know we lost you in between.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Give me a minute. Yeah, Vivek ji.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Vivek. Mr. Vivek. आप अनम्यूट करें अपने आप को.
हेलो, या आवाज आ रही है सर?
जी बोले.
हाँ, एक्चुअली जो बेरोजगारी है सर, वो कोविड से भी कई उससे भी ज्यादा बड़ी एक समस्या हम लोग के पास है। उत्तर प्रदेश का जो गोरखपुर है सर, वो सबसे ज्यादा माइग्रेट प्लेस माना जाता है पूरे इंडिया में, और उत्तर प्रदेश का गोरखपुर बिहार में से सबसे ज्यादा माइग्रेट आए। उसको हम लोग 2 महीने जब हम लोगों ने खाना राशन बांटा, तो हम लोगों ने उनको दिमाग में आया कि ये खाना राशन से उनकी समस्या सॉल्व नहीं होगी, चाहे हम कितनी भी कर लें। तो हम लोगों ने एक सस्टेनेबल, बहुत बिल्कुल सिंपल प्लान बनाया। सिंपल प्लान ये बनाया कि जो भी विदेश दूसरी कंट्री से कमा के लोग आए हुए हैं, जो अचानक से जा नहीं सकते, दूसरे स्टेट से आए हैं, दूसरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट से आए, उनको हम लोगों ने पर्टिकुलर उनके गांव एक पर्टिकुलर हम लोगों ने उद्यमिता विकास संस्था गीड़ा में सेटअप किया, और उनको 5 डेज का एक ट्रेनिंग सेशन रखा, जिसमें प्रोडक्शन और असेंबलिंग सिखा। पर्टिकुलर जैसे दिवाली की लड़ियां, जो भी इंडिया चाइना से हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स आते थे, वो इंडिया में जैसे दिवाली की लड़ियां, बल्ब, झूमर, गिफ्ट आइटम्स, जो रेगुलर बिकने वाले आइटम्स हैं। उसके बाद हमने जब उनको 3 मॉडल दिया, अब उसमें कुछ लोगों के पास पैसे नहीं थे, वो बोले कि सर बिल्कुल हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है, लेकिन हमें रोजगार चाहिए। तो हमने उनसे बोला कि ठीक है जी, आप सामान हमसे कच्चा माल लेके जाएं, और उसको एक हम सिक्योरिटी मनी 500 के आसपास रखते थे, जिससे कि वो टाइमली हमें वापस कर दें, और उनको हम पर पीस के हिसाब से पेमेंट करते हैं। जैसे आपने 10 रुपये, 15 रुपये, 5 रुपये बल्ब्स पे अलग अलग साइज पे हम करते हैं। दूसरा मॉडल हमने रखा कि जिनके पास 10,000 से 15,000 रुपये हैं, या बैंक भी दूसरा मॉडल हमारे पास ये था कि अगर जिनके पास 10 से 15,000 रुपए हैं, वो अपना एक छोटा सा शॉप खोल लें, और उनको हम पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट देंगे, और वो घर से ही बनाए थे, जिसमें हम उनको 10,000 का एक टूल किट भी देते थे, जिसमें कच्चा माल और पूरा प्रोडक्ट देते थे। तीसरा मॉडल हमने ये रखा कि जिनको अपने ब्रांड से प्रोडक्ट बनाने हैं, कई लोग सोचते हैं कि नहीं जी हमें अपने ब्रांड से बनाने हैं, हमने अपने तरीके से बनाना है, हमारा स्टार्टअप करना है, हम दुकानदार हैं, हम ट्रेडिंग करते थे, हमारे असेंबलिंग में, प्रोडक्शन में दिक्कत आती थी, रिपेयरिंग नहीं कर पाते थे, उनको प्रॉपर सीखा। अब इसको व्यवस्थित करने के लिए हमने उनके घर पे एक टीम भेजते थे हर 15 दिन पे, जो जाके उनके घर पे पूरा सेटअप करता था कि कैसे उनका असेंबलिंग करना है, कैसे पैकेजिंग करना है, कैसे उसकी मार्केटिंग करना है। उसके बाद हर मंथ में हम लोग मॉनिटरिंग करते थे, कितना प्रोडक्ट सेल हुआ, कितना मार्जिन आया। उसके बाद हम डिमांड जनरेट करते थे इंडिया मार्ट और भी सोशल नेटवर्क से। इससे मैं आपको बता दूं सर, गुजरात से, कोलकाता से, मुंबई से जितने इंपोर्टर थे जो चाइना से माल मंगाते थे, उनसे हम लोगों ने ऑर्डर बुक कर लिया पहले, और उनसे हमने 50% एडवांस ले ली। उसके बाद हमने उनसे कहा कि हम आपको प्रोडक्ट देंगे। ये सस्टेनेबल मॉडल बना सर। और मैं आपको बता दूं कि गोरखपुर, बलिया, बनारस, मथुरा, नागपुर से भी कुछ लोग आए थे, साउथ से भी आए थे। ये लोगों ने जगह जगह गए और अपना सेटअप करके स्टार्ट कर दिए, और उनको हम रॉ मटेरियल दे रहे हैं। अब इसको और बिजनेस प्लान करने के लिए उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने हम लोग को वहां पे एक जमीन दी, जिसमें 1000 वर्ग स्क्वायर मीटर मशीन सेटअप करने के लिए, क्योंकि एलईडी जो अंदर का पार्ट होता है वो इंडिया में बनता नहीं है। वो मशीन भी हम लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया है, तार बनाने की मशीन, पीसीबी बनाने की मशीन बकायदा, और हमको घर पे ही रॉ मटेरियल दे रहे हैं। अब इससे फायदा ये हुआ कि सर, जो आइटम दिल्ली या दूसरी शहरों से आते थे बन के, या कंपनियों से आते थे, उसको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में दिक्कत आती थी और रिपेयरिंग करने में दिक्कत आती थी, कॉस्ट कटिंग बढ़ जाती थी। अब वो घर पे ही, गांव में ही असेंबल हो रहे हैं, वहीं प्रोडक्शन हो रहे हैं, वहीं रिपेयर हो रहे हैं, वहीं सेल आउट हो रहे हैं। इससे हमारे पास सिस्टम क्या हो रहा है कि शहर के लोग हमें डिमांड कर रहे हैं। शहर के लोग ये बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे यहाँ फैक्ट्रियाँ चल नहीं पा रही है, लेबर नहीं है, वर्कर्स नहीं है, और हमारे पास ये अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि हमारे पास गाँव में बहुत सारे लेबर वर्कर्स आ गए जो स्किल हो गए हैं, और उनको हम दे रहे हैं सर। इसमें सर सबसे अच्छा हमारे लिए प्लस पॉइंट था कि जो स्कूल के टीचर्स थे, जिनके प्राइवेट टीचर थे, जिनकी सैलरी नहीं आती थी, उनमें 25 टीचरों ने सर अपनी दुकानें शुरू कर दिया है। इसमें स्कूल के कुछ बच्चे ऐसे थे जिनको पढ़ने में मन नहीं लगता था, उन्होंने किया, जिसमें एक लड़के का नाम बताना चाहूंगा, अमर प्रजापति, क्लास 6 का बच्चा है। उसने 6 लाख का बिजनेस अभी 2 मंथ में किया है। वो अपने ब्रांड से प्रोडक्ट निकाला सर। ऐसे ट्रक ड्राइवर्स थे, बस ड्राइवर्स थे, ऐसे इंडियन आर्मी के रिटायर ऑफिसर्स लोग थे। इस तरीके से लोगों को हमने कैटेगराइज किया। इसमें कोई स्किल की जरूरत नहीं, कोई क्वालिफिकेशन की जरूरत नहीं है सर, कोई एज ग्रुप की जरूरत नहीं है, लेडीज हो, महिलाएं हो या जेंट्स हो, हम सबको इस तरीके से 5 दिन में परफेक्ट कर देते हैं, असेंबलिंग और प्रोडक्शन करा के सर। इसमें
बहुत
सबसे बड़ा हमारा मार्केट है सर,
बहुत
सस्टेनेबल
अच्छा
मार्केट
काम
पूरे।
किया है। इसमें मेरा तो यही शुभकामनाएं हैं आपके लिए कि आप इसको और बढ़ाएं, इसको बढ़ोतरी मिले, ताकि और से ज्यादा लोगों को रोजगार, तो स्किल मिले
सर
कि अगर ये नहीं किया तो कुछ और कर पाए। ये नहीं है कि उनको आप
नहीं सर, यही करना है जी, क्योंकि आत्मनिर्भर भारत का मेन कॉन्सेप्ट यही है।
मैं आपसे दोबारा बात करूंगा। मैं इस वक्त पे बुलाना चाहता हूँ श्री मदन मोहन जी, जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं काफी समय से। he has also helped us number of such interventions over the years. So Mr. Madan Mohan, over to you.
Thank you, sir. See, I have been hearing this presentation since morning, and I am really impressed by the presentation made by different people. But I was just looking in terms of good governance, no? Definitely good governance starts with good planning and its meticulous implementation at the ground level or micro level. No, wherever this has happened, the results have been obvious. So when we call up good governance, so first step which needs to be taken into account is the good planning and its sincere implementation at the ground level. Now, whether we do it by use of technology or in terms of involving people or the local government or the other voluntary agencies, that depends on the situation. But definitely, so the ultimate litmus test, as far as my thinking goes, is in really ourselves approaching the pro-COVID stage. Now, whether we can achieve that pro-COVID stage in terms of socio-economic status or situation. I want to get my GDP back. I want to get my people re-employed. So no one should remain unemployed just because of COVID. So we have to work towards those scenarios. No, this also includes political stability, because that follows. If the economic and social stability is there, the other one will also follow. So, sir, very good presentation. Coming to a specific question, I have for Mr. Satpathy. No, I would like to know from him how have been their quarterly results, because it seems they have done quite a saving in terms of expenditure by not sending people to, by not traveling, or by allowing them to work from home. So I don't know whether their the profitability has gone really up. Yeah, it should go up as they have indicated. So I'd just like to know from Mr. Satpathy, no?
Sir, very good evening, sir.
Good evening, please.
Sir, our quarterly results as such is not very good, sir. We are in minus 100 and some odd crores. But our order booking position for the current year is stands as the highest, that is 9,775 crores. So as compared to the previous year of 9,195 crores. So if you look at our order book position, says that we will be able to in very comfortable positions towards the end of the year, because the supply chain also now we have lined up. The supply chain and the inspection of the materials, what are the inputs now we are getting from the outside, that also we are doing through virtual, so that we have changed that mode to digital mode, so that our supply chain is restored. And we are hoping of that we will be having a good result by this end of this quarter and the year end. But as a
But how much your growth is likely to be affected with this, or will it be affected or not? Because the measures, various measures you have taken. Overall annual growth, I'm talking.
Sir, growth will be around 7 to 8% increase than the previous year, sir. We are hoping for a 4,000 crores target.
Good.
As against the 3,242 crores of last year.
And what percent of your people are working from home?
That is strategic planning. Sir, now currently nobody is working from, all are working from office, sir.
All are working.
Because we are a manufacturing setup, so all the people.
Okay.
2 shifts working we are doing.
Sir, my last question is for Mr. Sanjeev. Can I ask?
Yes, go ahead. Let's make it quick.
Sanjeev, actually, he's doing a very good work, and in terms of people training the people and really ensuring that they are at their own feet. But tell me, this immigrant labor you were talking, how is it that immigrant labor is has gone back, and who are these guys who are now with you, whom you have trained and they are employed?
Hello. Hello.
Did you get me?
जी सर, बताएं सर.
मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ कि जो इमिग्रेंट लेबर आए थे आपके पास,
जी,
वो
जी.
तो वापस चले गए होंगे कि वो बस गए हैं आपके पास?
सर अभी इसमें सबसे ज्यादा हमारे पास जो आए थे सर, वो जो विदेश से आए थे, दूसरी कंट्री से, दुबई, नाइजीरिया और यूएस से जो लोग आए थे सर, वो अभी नहीं गए हैं. वो लोग तो कंटिन्यू कर दिए हैं अपना प्रोडक्शन, वो अब वापस जाना नहीं चाह रहे. जो माइग्रेट लेबर थे सर, उनका भी 5,000 10,000 का इनकम घर पे ही हो जा रहा, तो वो भी नहीं जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि उनका दिवाली का सीजन, प्रोडक्शन रेट, उनका डिमांड्स आ रही हैं. तो अब वो कह रहे हैं कि हम क्यों जाएं शहर में, क्या मिलता है उससे, हम अपने गांव में ही सेटअप कर लेंगे. तो हम लोग एक क्लस्टर बना रहे हैं सर यहाँ पे.
एवरेज इनकम कितनी, कमाई कितनी?
एवरेज इनकम सर, जो टर्नओवर पर मंथ का अभी हमने जो सब पर हर पर्सन का निकाला है, तो मिनिमम आ रहा है 70 से 80 हजार टर्नओवर आ रहे हैं, जिसमें उनका प्रॉफिट मार्जिन 30 से 35% हो जा रहे हैं. तो मोटा मोटी उनका जो शहर में कमाते थे उसके एवरेज से उनको अपने घर पे ही मिल जा रही है सर. तो इसमें क्या कि चाइना से भी चीजें आना बंद हुई है, तो हमारे लिए एक अपॉर्चुनिटी आ गई है बहुत अच्छा, और डिमांड्स आ रही है, तो हमारे को लोकल स्तर पर मार्केट बहुत आसानी से मिल जा रही है, तो सबको मटेरियल आसानी से सेल हो जाते हैं सर.
बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा. थैंक यू.
जी
Thank you, sir, from my side.
Thank you,
ओके
Mr. Panda.
Yeah, this me? Yeah, I have to speak. Yeah, let me first at the outset say that, see, I would like to reflect upon the COVID situation through a perspective as I gather through visiting Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Odisha during February and March, as I witnessed, and also intensive interaction with the, with the people through the courts evaluation process. So that, I mean, from to begin with, we have to acknowledge that the leadership and the government first sensitized the people through whatever way it could by lighting lamps or, you know, uh, clapping or whatever. But that was the first process where social mobilization, social sensitivity was generated as regards the onslaught of possible COVID, pandemic. So that is where it proves that it is true now, sociologically speaking, illness is physical construct, whereas sickness is social construct. So there now the perfect timing of illness and sickness comes together as a comprehensive component where which the social distance is the way and means to, prevent to a large extent the pandemic. The second thing is that you see the convergence and coordination of various departments. Needless to say that the nodal health and other departments which have come in their possible ways and means and availability of service to contribute to face this pandemic in an effective way. As rightly mentioned earlier by some speaker, that no one would have seen the police's human face and as manifested and as witnessed by all of us. Otherwise, we would have seen differently. So these are some of the mobilization of efforts. And also, see, the efforts of the civil society and also of the voluntary organization also played a critical role in this. So then coming into, we have to now at the stage that we have to bridge a various aspects, including the knowledge, the technology, the people's perception, and the various medical systems that are available. We have to bridge them together and bring a comprehensive and integrated, and wherever the strength lies, put them in the front in addressing the pandemic and mobilizing the society at large. Because if we see at the moment, what has prevented largely because the people strength, which reflected by responding positively to the initiative of the government and the programs, that has, contained the disease to the large extent. Now coming to disaggregation of the situation and understanding of the COVID situation in a disaggregated way across the country in different terrains, different language, different climatic zones, different societies, these communities, and in also in terms of societies, tribal, marginalized and otherwise. So we have to disaggregately approach this thing because not uniformity is only seen as the COVID as a problem, but the situation of the COVID as a uniformity does not reflect upon the different situations that differently required to be attended. So the next,
So we have to now move on to our next session. So thank you so much.
the last point. See, last point. Let me. Of course, I have many things, but anyway, last point. So now since the second phase of the pandemic is in overwhelming in Europe and elsewhere, now we should be in a position to draw a roadmap in such a situation. How do we face it and how do we put our infrastructure in place and our services in place and our medical system and staff, everything in place, rather than what we face as unprecedented and spontaneous thing which has come, like we are in a critical situation of fixing the flight while you're flying. So these are some of the things you have to do that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Atan, for sharing your insights. I know you've been patient through the day and there would have been a lot to do. My apologies for not according.
No, no,
to,
no, we can always, we
uh,
can say, there is no need to reflect on this. I can always come to you.
Thank you so much.